it will start with understanding of the problem, diagnosing the issue, envisioning what the system should look like, and then designing it. Last but not the least, our third musketeers, Chandra Joshi, will help wrap up the session. So, welcome once again. Please fasten your seat belts to soar into the world of AI. And last but not the least, please stay away from your mobile phones and enjoy the journey. Thank you.
So thank you, Neeraj. Thanks for that very peppy start. So I would like to first wish you all a very good afternoon to all the assembled dignitaries, senior leaders from the government, members of the public, and TCS colleagues and friends. I would like to first start by thanking every leader from the government here, that we thank you really for your service from the bottom of our heart. And I would like to say that with AI, we are at a very transformative juncture where technology, where nation building, and where governance have to come together, right? So if you really look at the past, the world has said that India missed the Industrial Revolution. They also said in some terms that we were a bit late to the Silicon Party, as we call it. But what we did was we developed Aadhaar, we developed UPI, and in doing so, we actually rewrote the rules. We showed what was actually possible, right, by a nation like India. And I think that with AI, we are yet again at another juncture, because the choices that India makes with AI will actually set the tone for the rest of the world, right? So the key thing is that AI is merely not a technological change, as you will see and as you would have heard multiple times. It's actually a civilizational change. It's going to affect all of us. It's also a deeply ethical and moral change that we have to, we as citizens and we as policymakers, we have to take. And the thing that I want to say is that AI will be built everywhere. All nations will build AI, but it is up to us to make sure that the most ethical, the most uplifting and empowering AI is built in India, is built by Indian hands and Indian minds. But in order to do that, there are three guiding principles that we as leaders, we have to keep in our minds. The first is that a confident India marched into the digital age for the last 10 years. So we built, a very comprehensive set of DPIs. We brought millions of people into the digital fold. But it is also a time where we have to stop and question ourselves, that is digital enough, right? Because the future is not digital first systems, the future is AI first systems. The problem with digital is that digital systems actually wait for a citizen to knock on its doors. They expect a citizen to fill forms. They usually work they take inputs in a couple of languages. And most importantly, these systems usually tend to be very reactive. They're not very proactive. But yet, our people speak hundreds of languages, and they live thousands of realities. The digital literacy in India is about 38%, which means that we have given them access, but most people in India are not able to avail that access because of certain constraints. For example, a low level of digital literacy means that people who have to use these fantastic digital systems that we built often have to go to middlemen to access and use these systems. And what that actually does is that pushes up the cost of service, right, for people and also for the government. So while digital helped us scale, we firmly believe that AI will help us transform. So AI first systems will not wait for citizens to knock on their doors. They will anticipate, they will reach out, they will guide, and they will uplift. So imagine a system that speaks to you in your language, that understands your context, not only your words, but your reality, and says, I hear you, I understand you, let me help you. So picture an agent sensing that there is a deficit monsoon, proactively calling a farmer, making him aware of a subsidy, and very patiently, through voice, guiding him through the entire process of actually applying for that subsidy in a very, very respectful, dignified, and patient way. So this, if this happens, it's not a technological change. It is actually a change in empathy that we have towards our people. The second guiding principle that we have to keep in mind is this whole idea of the missing middle. So if you really look at it, as a nation, our story is extremely unique, right? All our knowledge and all our capability is concentrated in our cities, but most of our people live far beyond them. So if you really think, there are millions of ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers, there are postmen, there are financial intermediaries, and they are spread across this country delivering essential services to millions of citizens. In fact, there are about 1 million ASHA workers who pour empathy into every home that they visit, but they often lack these basic tools which can help them do their jobs better. So the world calls them frontline workers, but we really know they are heartline workers, right? They are the backbone of this country. So what AI can actually do is AI can give these frontline workers the support that they need to do their jobs better. So an ASHA worker today can be armed with an intelligent assistant who diagnoses, who transcribes, who advises, and most importantly, helps us succeed in our job. So what will end up happening is that AI will start becoming this missing middle. Now, what is the missing middle? It is this bridge between human empathy that our frontline workers have and all the expert knowledge that resides elsewhere. So the way AI will do that is that it will digitize the shared context of these frontline workers. It will digitize the specialist knowledge that is available with experts in the domains that they work in. And it will digitize all of this into models. And these models will be used to build intelligent assistants who will deliver prescriptions and predictions in vernacular language on frugal devices on a sovereign stack, right? A stack that is ours. And the most important truth in all of this is that AI will never be able to truly replace any of them. It will only end up empowering them. Because in the front lines, what will end up happening is that humans will bring empathy and AI will bring knowledge and intelligence. And together, they will script a completely new India. The third choice, or the third guiding principle that we have to follow is this whole principle that the India story of AI cannot be built on a borrowed brain, right? So if you really look at AI, it's an entire stack. While we think it is algorithms, but it's actually an entire stack which comprises of infrastructure, data centers, where all these applications run. Then you need a lot of data to train models. Then there are the models themselves. And then there are platforms on which you build applications and you distribute applications. And finally, there are the applications themselves. And to truly be sovereign, you have to make sovereign choices at each level of the stack. But for the first time, I think we are truly prepared, because the India AI mission today has about 38,000 GPUs, which it has made available to Indian innovators to build models, to train them, test them, deploy them. There are also initiatives such as AI Kosh, which is essentially creating millions of data sets that you will need to train these models. And also from a model perspective, you would have followed the news over the last couple of days, that there are today Indic models which understand our language, which understand our context, and perform at benchmarks which are set as high as global models, and sometimes even surpassing them. So as leaders, we have to make a couple of choices. The first choice that we have to make is that when we use data for training models, or we use data for feeding into intelligent assistants and AI algorithms, we have to make sure that our data resides on sovereign data centers, right? When we use models for inferencing, for essentially making these intelligent decisions for us, we have to at least make sure that even if these models are not Indian models, at least these models have open weights, which means that we can host them on our own data centers, and we know what we are dealing with, and we know that whatever the model, the kinds of decisions that the model makes, these are transparent decisions. And the third thing is that we have to use tools which are either open source or built with India in mind. So I'll just summarize. So we have to create AI-first systems. We have to make sure that we create systems which fill the missing middle. And we have to make sure that we avoid a borrowed brain. And all of this requires us to make design choices in the applications that we build. And the first design choice is that we have to choose voice and vernacular as our primary interfaces, right? Interfaces which are voice-driven and which can understand vernacular. The second design choice that we have to make is that we have to completely stay away from forms. As much as possible, have conversations, right? The third design choice is that we have to design systems that are proactive and that are not reactive, which means these systems should reach out to citizens rather than citizens having to chase these systems. And the fourth choice that we have to make is that we have to make systems that are frugal, which means they can work on commodity devices, but are also sovereign. So what follows next is a vibe coding session, where essentially my colleague Arun, who you have met, will allow you to apply these design principles on a few challenges that we have carefully curated for you, and you will build these AI applications yourself using AI, right? And all of this will be done without you knowing a single line of coding or programming, as they call it. You will use today the most powerful language in the world for programming, which is natural language. In this case, English. But remember, today in India, for example, there's a session running next door where you have thousands of rural women actually building apps like you will build it, but not in English, in vernacular languages, using a special application that we have built for them. So the goal of the next 70 minutes is essentially to test this hypothesis that AI can drastically shorten the gap between ideation to your first prototype. So we will not be building systems which you can put into your data centers and start scaling immediately, because building those systems requires a lot of checks and balances, which anyway we have to do while we deploy the system. So these are not production grade systems you build, but what it will essentially show you that you can today compress this whole thing from ideation to a prototype. It usually used to take months, but today it will just take you 60 minutes. Actually, less than 60 minutes, 40 minutes, right? So please participate enthusiastically, have animated discussions at the tables. Our volunteers are here, and they will guide you through every step of the way, and have fun at the end of it. And please go back and enthuse your colleagues to also try and build their first AI prototype. So I'll just end with a thought that when you look at the global context, right, people measure progress in AI by something that's called the Turing test, which is essentially, are we building AI that is smarter than humans? But I think the AI that we have to build for this country has to be measured on a different metric, and whether that metric is that whether AI systems that we build are uplifting the last person on the last mile, right? So you call it an Antodaya test, or you give it another name, but that's going to be the true benchmark of systems that we build for India and by Indians. So I will end by saying that the future is calling. You're all here. So let's build India first AI systems. Thank you very much. Over to you.
So it's my job to actually make you get your hands dirty and actually see things as they happen. So I'll just start with one quick question. I know that Shank already said that you're not going to have to code today, but just a quick question. How many of you have coded anywhere, including back in school in BASIC, or made any kind of a program at any point of time? Okay, that's a lot more than I expected. That's great. All right. So this is really something very good. But here today, the kind of complex programs that our engineers who are sitting near your tables do on a daily basis is going to be accelerated significantly using AI. Now, when we say AI, there's one thing that I want you to take very strongly over there. It's not the intelligence part, it's the artificial part. Because at the end of the day, trust me, AI is something that really accelerates things and does things extremely fast. But the job of making AI focus on a particular task and guiding it to do the thing the right way is still us. We have to actually do that. We need to make that artificial come into the real realm. To give you an example, a couple of years ago, when AI actually started becoming something very real, something that all of us could access, the very common thing that people were doing was drafting their emails using AI or ChatGPT or any of these things. And some of the fundamental mistakes they would make is they would make a query that said, okay, can you please draft a formal email saying that I'm going to be taking some time off from work due to my medical condition. A very generic, doesn't explain much. AI would go ahead and literally this happened. AI created an email saying, I would like to take 3 months of leave since I'm in my 6th month of pregnancy. It just hallucinated, right? It did not get the exact guidance. It went ahead and it was, well, on the first hand, it's extremely tough for someone to suddenly go to office and say, I'm 6 months pregnant, and even more tougher because this person was a man. So it does put you in very difficult positions if you don't guide it the right way. So that's where guiding AI by saying, listen, AI, I want you to ask me questions so that my question or my request to you is more accurate, makes it a lot more sensible. AI should be retroalimenting what you actually want to achieve by first asking and checking with you if the information that it's thinking of is right. And that's what we're actually going to be doing today. The reason why it has become extremely accessible now is purely because of technological advancements. If we go back to 1975, Aryabhatta 1, our first satellite that was actually launched into space, the processor that was used on that functioned at a maximum clock of 5 megahertz. 5 megahertz, and it did telemetry, it did astronomy, it did communications. It lasted 5 days, but for that era, it was amazing. Your Apple Watch or your phone today has well close to 1,000 times of that compute power. And that's literally why AI has become much more accessible to all of us right now. So it's the power of all of these things that we're going to use together. But the most important thing, which is particularly very strong in the public sector, is we approach things from the humanitarian side. I've worked with a lot of enterprises, and they approach it from a business side, from a product side, from a service side that they have to provide to their consumer. How can they make more profits? But AI is something which serves best when you approach it from the perspective of the consumer, the person who's going to use this particular service. And that's why the challenges that all of you have today are designed specifically for that. And we've also channeled AI to ask you the right questions, provide you information that it already knows, and ask you, am I right? Is there something that you would like to add to this? Because at the end of the day, about each of your services, you know better than AI. You can tell AI you're wrong. You can tell AI you've forgotten this point. Add it into your calculations as well. And that's what we're going to do. So let me take you through a very fast live example of what exactly you're going to be seeing. All of you at your tables have this screen in front of you with multiple challenges. I'm going to take one of these challenges, which my colleague Shank also mentioned, of the ASHA worker. You will see exactly what the problem is here. Sunita, an ASHA worker, once again approaching it from the person's perspective. We know that we have over 1 million ASHA workers around who are actually going from place to place, providing medical information, advice, and getting all of this information. What we know is that they gather all this information on paper as they go from place to place. Then they have to go to a system and then manually enter that information for it to come into the government health portal. What if we could make things a lot easier for her? What if we could make it such that no matter which language the ASHA worker speaks, they can actually enter their data? What if they could actually attend to more than 6 to 7 people a day and increase their efficiency if AI can augment them? Now, make note of one thing. AI is extremely good at making processes that work better. Don't think that AI is going to be the ground-up solution. You need a process in place, you need some form of digitization in place, and AI will make it better. Don't try to make AI fix a broken process. Fix a process and use AI to make it better. So in Asha, in this case, in Sunita's case, what we're going to do today is we'll start, and here we have a full-fledged AI-guided platform for all of you, which you'll see on your screens, where AI is going to understand what the ASHA worker's problem is, and it's going to start asking you questions, saying, basically categorized into 3 things. Who is involved in this particular process? What is the reason that they're involved? What is the reason that this process or this problem exists? And finally, how can we actually solve that problem for you? Come up with your imagination. And 4th phase, our engineers over here will actually build that prototype for you. So, as you can see here, it's recommending things to me, saying, well, considering this problem, I see ASHA workers, auxiliary nurses or midwives, Ministry of Health, rural families. Does this capture everyone? And I can just go ahead and say, I can either type it or use one of the suggested responses. I can say, yes, I think that covers everyone. But if I think it doesn't, or if I think of someone that hasn't, I can go ahead and give my input. Now, for each of those workers, it's coming up and saying, well, what do you think is the issue faced by each and every one of them? What's the possible problem? What's the possible pain area for them? So ASHA worker, double entry. AMS, access to real-time data, etc. It's pointed specifically all of those things out. However, if I do feel that the technical reliability for ASHA workers is also a pain point, I'll say, please add that also. If there's something that comes up to my mind because I know the process is different, I can type that in as well. So when I add that, it adds that point as well. So we go on like this, excuse me. We go on like this and we start gathering information about the who. Who are the people who are affected and how they're affected. So it takes information. I've told AI to first gather as much information as it can from all of you in order to get this detail. Now, once it goes ahead and captures that information, it'll then take me into the next phase, which would be the diagnose phase. Just give me a moment, please. No, it's taking a little bit of time here. Sorry? Zoom in a little bit. Oh, of course, of course. There we go. Oh, there we go. Yes. So great. I understand what the pain points are. Now, let's see what success would look like for each of those people. So Here we have all of those details captured. So one by one, you'll go through all of these questions that AI is actually asking you. You'll accept them, or you'll augment them, or you'll negate them, saying this is not an issue, etc. And finally, it'll say, what if we go with this kind of a flow? What if things worked out this way? And we would say, yes, that is the exact flow. Or I would say, no, I want to add certain things to it. Go ahead, argue with AI, contest it, make it think once or twice more. And finally, you would actually go ahead and, well, it'll say, let's go ahead and diagnose why this is happening. We now know how it's affecting people, what their pain points are. Well, let's move forward to why it is happening. So that is diagnosing what's the root cause. Why are we having these issues? Once again, same process. Go ahead, accept, argue, tell AI, no, I don't accept what you're saying, or tell AI, please add this also. You're right about this, but something's not right. You'll have this conversation not just with AI, but with all the people at your desk as well, because everyone brings a certain perspective, a certain angle to each of the problems that you'll face. So we do this, and we basically, as we're doing all of these discussions, AI is gathering the inputs that each and every one of you is contributing. And as you go forward with this, maybe within another couple of minutes or so, you'll eventually enter into the imagine phase. The imagine phase is basically the phase where it's going to say, now let me, considering that I understand who is involved and what is their problem and why that problem is happening, how's about I imagine a solution for you? So I go ahead and say, yes, let's see what that AI solution can be, where it goes ahead and resolves all these problems. And it says I can make something, an application that does all of these things, ranging from integration, digital shadow register, time reclaim, data latency, all of these details, the user experience, offline voice queuing, etc. Takes all of that, and I say, yes, that captures everything well. If there's something more that I want to add, I can specifically add it there. Finally, we come to the PRD, the big document that we generally submit to our suppliers to say, this is the solution that I want built. And it'll say, do you want me, based on the entire conversation that you've had, based on everything that you've told me, do you want me to go ahead and build a PRD for you? And I say, yes. Go ahead. Now that we have discussed everything, now that we have argued, now that we've seen the pros and cons, build the PRD. And that's precisely what we'll do over here. Now, as it's generating the PRD based on the entire conversation, once the PRD file is available, that's when the rapid build process starts, along with all of these experts that you have in front of you. So my PRD is ready. I can just download this file. And if I open this file right now, you'll notice that based on my entire discussion, it's taken up a lot of things. I'm sorry, it's a little bit small. Let me see if I can make it bigger. There we go. The problem statement, the solution overview, who were the target users, what are the key features, what was the user flow like of your app, of your imagined solution. Everything's been taken just based on the discussions that you've had. Now, nothing is programming language. Everything is just plain English. And we'll just take this file, put it inside an AI system and say, make this an app. And you will see magically within a few minutes that it actually makes an app. That app is kind of like the first draft of the email that the person said, where it ended up saying, yes, I need to take leave because I'm pregnant. You need to then reiterate along with our programmers, again in plain English, saying, yes, this app looks good, but I'm not pregnant. I'm just unwell with a cold. That kind of a comment regarding your app has to be passed on, and it will once again make the changes that you want quickly, rapidly, just by talking to AI, and you'll eventually get a fully functioning prototype. And that's what we want to achieve with you today. Remember, the primary goal here is to understand how to interact with AI. The prototype isn't the goal. It's the bonus. So learn how to interact with AI to understand how AI can actually help you solve a problem and get to the root of it, and eventually end up with an idea that can possibly help you solve the problem. And then you'll see how AI platforms these days can rapidly help you without any coding knowledge build an actual mobile app, web platform, you name it. It'll build it for you as long as you can explain your problem properly. So with that, let's jump straight into our workshops along with our experts who will be joining you at our table. And I think each table has been assigned a random challenge. You won't be doing the Asha Worker challenge. But that said, let me actually give you a quick view of what the Asha Worker the Asha Worker challenge actually resulted in. So just give me one moment. I actually downloaded the PRD and I went ahead and created a solution for this as well. So just give me a moment. This is the platform that we actually use. There are multiple rapid build platforms that exist across the globe. We use this platform called Lovable. You can use Google, you can use Base44. There's so many of them. All you have to tell it is, here's what I want my solution to look like. Can you please build it for me? So we actually built quite a few solutions for you rapidly. And here's what the Asha solution turned out to be. Oh, which one was it? Give me a moment. I built quite a few for all of you. There we go. So all I did was give that PRD, the complete requirement document. It built this solution. I made a couple of iterations, couple of corrections to the language, the fact that I wanted it to support Gujarati and various other languages from India as well. So if I was to go ahead and just say something using just voice from anywhere, saying मैं गांधीनगर शहर में हूँ और मैंने आज गौरी से बात किया जिसका की उम्र 39 years था और उनका weight 58 kilos था, उनका बीपी थोड़ा हाई था 170/90 और उसके लिए वो बीपी की गोलियां भी ले रहे हैं. So on the go, your ASHA worker would just talk into her phone and it would take all of those details that I just said, translate it into the language that they were speaking in, make that entry directly over here, and I could just register that then and there. This essentially makes that double work to be completely negated. The ability to use natural language to take anything, considering that we're using Sarvam AI, our own indigenous built text-to-speak and speak-to-text engine. It can support up to 22 languages, Indian dialects, Indian voices, to actually give you all of these details. Rapid, quick solution, and this was built within an hour. So with that in mind, I ask all of you to please go ahead, jump in with your people, see what your challenge is, and try and replicate what I just did over here along with them. And they're here to support you, and we'll be here to guide you as well. So have fun, most importantly.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello. I know you're all engrossed, but important announcement. Wherever you are, you have to end in the next 2 minutes. So if you have crossed diagnose, just press enter, enter after that. uh,
See, we have a time limit here for the hall, so we have to finish it off in next 2 minutes, please.
we don't have to vacate the hall in 2 minutes, but we have to. There is something else we want to do after this. Okay. So some summary stats. If you look at that, out of the 16 apps that you are building, 12 have been completed already. So which is a huge, huge achievement. So let's give each ourselves a big applause. Um, so now, here's the important thing. Everybody, important thing. I would like one volunteer to come here and show everyone what they have built. Just one. Come on. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, and when you do, please tell us who you are and what you have built.
One from each table, please.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, lovely. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Floor is all yours.
Hello, everyone. So I think we all participated from this team on this document doctor exercise. I'm myself Anita Mittal. I work with GIZ as a lead for social protection program, which is dealing with digital transformation of social protection. So this topic was very relevant for me. I also consult for the World Bank. So both the work profiles is the objective what we aim for. So here we used the way Arun had presented, followed all the steps, made few changes just to test out, not a happy flow, but added few things. And we were doing the PRD, my colleague said, in the PRD we added generate in a Calvin Hobbes style. And there we also made a spelling mistake purposely to see if it will hallucinate or not. So if you will see the screen, this is where we have the document doctor. And when we built the document doctor and we had to upload a birth certificate as well as a utility bill. Okay, let me step. So the purpose of this document doctor is to verify the documents that a person brings for service to see that they are accurate, so that at the point of service delivery doesn't happen that you have brought the wrong document, your documents are too old, they are not readable, to avoid those issues. So this is pre-checked by the citizen at his own home that all the documents that are going to take for the appointment are valid. So when we wanted to test this, we took this app and we uploaded few dummy birth certificates which we downloaded from internet, and also utility bill. So they were random. Birth certificate was from somebody from Canada, as you will see, Oliver Benjamin. So the tool did say that the birth certificate doesn't have the right name and not from the right country. And obviously when we uploaded the electricity bill, it was from October 2018. So it flagged that it is a very, very old birth certificate, and it also provided us with guidance that you need to provide the address proof. So I think we like the look and feel. So I should thank my colleague for bringing this nice twist. So it's not a boring document, but it's a more comic style UI.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Just to add to that, we did that after we generated the requirements from the. So on the text file, we added.
Wow.
So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, sir. One more volunteer, please. That table. Come on, please. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm Gurpreet Deo. I'm Special DGP from Punjab Cadre, and I'm looking after Community Affairs Division there. So we were looking. We had to, like, I'm an income tax officer, and I have to draft these assessment appeals, and so I have to have a kind of a system where I can actually look at the legal framework in which the order has to be made. So if there is a, assessment which is made by the assessee, so whether it is in accord with the latest judicial pronouncements, and also with the amendments which have happened in the IT Act. And the idea is to have a app which will assist you. So you just give the problem statement that some person, like the TCS has a 20 million bank balance, this statement claims, and but when you actually test it out, I feel that it is not correct. So then that problem statement will be put into the app, and then the app will come out with it will go to the various judicial decisions and the acts, and take out assessment order. And that assessment order can be heard by me. And so we found that while we were doing this, that the assessment order, so I asked him that if there is some correction and I want to change it. So he said that we have not factored it in, so we were trying to do that. So, uh, start. So, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ this I'm doing in Punjabi. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਜੋ ਅਡਾਨੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ 20 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਦਾ ਉਹ ਬੈਲੈਂਸ ਸ਼ੀਟ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਸੀਗੀ, ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਇਹਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਅਸੈਸਮੈਂਟ ਆਰਡਰ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਫੈਕਟ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਾਏ। तो इंग्लिश में करो। हाँ हाँ, जनरेट।
And this is indigenous server. So.
हाँ।
Oh, okay.
Some data is not correct, please.
हाँ।
20 million balance
So now we want to change that. No.
Do you want to listen to it?
We can. They can also listen.
Yeah, they can.
So just we listen to it. So now, if you want to correct it, so then I'll. Is it?
It's not.
It's not playing.
Yeah, that has not been added.
No,
because
we
there
won't
was-
be able to hear it because it's coming
Okay.
from here. So.
Okay. So basically, the person who is making the draft, he can hear it instead of reading the entire 10 pages. So then we have to correct it. So for that, the app should be.
That's your next build, ma'am.
No, I know that we are at the border of time, but I particularly wanted this demo to come in because it's a challenge that they brought onto the table themselves for the education department. So it was very unique.
Very good afternoon to all of you. And I'm representing my team. I come from the Directorate of Higher Education, Government of Goa. And indeed, thank you to the organizers for setting this vibrant room on the real impactful experience. We were very excited to build this application, and this application basically is related to the domain of education. So the problem which we are addressing here is we are trying to use the classroom environment as our ground of experiment. We are trying to use the teachers to solve their own problems. That's because there is a problem in the schools. So in the state of Goa, I mean, we are trying to address to the scenario where we have seen that the schools in South Goa, they have different nutrition-based problems, like the day meals which are being provided across the state are of the same type. However, based on the nutrition patterns and the consumption of food in the different districts, the health conditions vary. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to use the teachers to gather the data from their classrooms, the data about the students. So this data is about the height, weight, and BMI parameters of the students. With the teacher along with the attendants will be gathering the data about the height and the BMI of the student, and in the process we'll be creating the data corpus. So I would like to specifically mention that this was not the problem statement on the static list which actually TCS had provided. And we requested to have this dynamic problem been added. They were kind enough, they said, okay, let's solve this problem because it's about dynamic solutions. So let's try a dynamic problem. And that's how we took it up. And further, we have this particular application which was being built through the process which was being guided by the team. So we have an overview here. As you can see, there is data which has been inputted for 7 students. It shows that the health ratio is 29%. Action needed, there are 3 students who are undernutrition, and the action is needed towards them. The impact which was asked, or the outcome which was asked, was that the same day meal should not be provided to the schools because the nutrition conditions vary based on the nutrition patterns in certain areas of the state. So we can clearly see that there are 3 students who need action, and here we are able to see the BMI distribution as well. So we see that there are 2 students who are healthy, there are 3 who are underweight, and so on. So it is giving this analytics. This application is also able to record the data. So I can simply go here. Well, servam.ai has been used here, which allows us to do this in vernacular, 22 options. Let us try it in Hindi language. राहुल का वजन राहुल का वजन 15 किलो है और उसका BMI 30 है. So it's able to record the data here, and it's able to give this analysis. It's also able to create the analytics for the kitchen staff. So because now teachers are helping in a major way in providing very useful data to the kitchen, and here the weight management statistics and the statistics with regard to certain parameters like iron rich plates should be basically curated for this particular scenario. And this is the data about the students. Well, one of the stakeholders here is government as well. So we can see here that this is the analytics for the government, that in this particular school, in the month of, this is monthly data, 50% are healthy students, 40% are underweight students who need attention. So accordingly, government can have the decision making and solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. We'll get kicked out of this room in 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
I will appreciate the TCS for this session, and the time is very limited. 2 minutes. We'll take 2 minutes. We have a problem related to the remote village where the nurse is there, and the snake bite happens to a kid, and how to handle the situation. And for that, we have created the AI software. Just go ahead.
25 kg kids bitten by a snake.
So what we could see that the solution has been received from vernacular language in any language, which can be assessed by the nurse, whether from any state. So it will give the SOP and what she has to do, and it gives the detail how to handle that snake bite and the type of medication she has to give. So otherwise, he or she has to go the different documents. They don't have the time to assess that. This gives a very handy solution for them. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hello. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. I think I could sense the energy in the room. Just wanted to wrap up this session in 1 minute. So let the slide come. So there are three key takeaways I would want you to take it up. Number one, first of all, as you have experienced how AI can compress the time from the idea or the problem to take it to a prototype can be done in the minutes. That's one. Number two, because you can experiment more, because the cost of losing any money to make a prototype or something is very, very low. You can reiterate again and again and again. So AI gives you that power to do more and more experiment. And the third thing, very important, that's a cultural shift is happening. AI is no more a tech skill. It is a workplace skill. Just like you understand the PowerPoint, Excel, etc., that's the way the AI has to happen. So I know that many of you have done it, completed, and somebody really wants to do it again. But it's not the end of this masterclass, or it's actually the start of an AI first nation build journey, right? And TCS team is with you. So thank you so much for everyone to take out your time here and work with us and build with us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So with this, we wrap up our session. Thank you. You could have our email IDs, and if you want to reach out to us for any help, any support, we are always there.